You know that horrible moment when you're speaking English, everything is flowing perfectly, and then suddenly your mind just goes completely blank? Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, absolutely. I remember this one time I was at a job interview for a position I really wanted. I had spent days preparing my answers, practicing in front of the mirror, recording myself. I walked in feeling confident, like I had this.
I can picture it. You're dressed well, you've done the preparation.
Exactly. The interviewer smiles, asked me to tell her about a time I solved a difficult problem at work. Simple question. I've answered this 100 times in practice. I opened my mouth to start and nothing. Absolute silence. My brain just emptied itself completely. I couldn't remember a single word of English. I couldn't even remember how to say, I don't know.
That silence must have felt eternal.
30 seconds, maybe 45, but it felt like 10 minutes. My face started burning, my hands got sweaty, and I could see the interviewer's expression changing from interested to confused to concerned. I wanted to disappear into the floor.
That physical reaction you felt, the heat in your face, the sweating, that's actually your body's fight or flight response kicking in. Your brain perceived the situation as a threat, like facing a dangerous animal, and it flooded your system with adrenaline and cortisol.
So it was a physical reaction, not just me being stupid.
Exactly. And here's the cruel part. Those stress hormones actually shut down the language centers in your brain. The more you panic, the less English you can access. It's literally a biological trap that makes you perform worse, precisely when you want to perform better.
I always thought I just didn't study hard enough, that other people were naturally better at this than me.
Not at all. I've seen advanced students at level C1 freeze completely. I've seen professional translators freeze. It happens to native speakers too when they're nervous in high-stakes situations. The difference is that native speakers have recovery strategies. They know how to buy time, how to use filler phrases, how to laugh it off and move on. But English learners often panic because we think we're being judged, that one mistake means we've failed completely.
So what can we do about it? When that blank moment hits, how do we survive it without dying of embarrassment?
First, you need to accept that it will happen. Not that it might happen, but that it will happen. If you speak English regularly, especially in stressful situations, you will experience moments where your mind goes blank. That is not failure. That is simply being human.
That sounds depressing rather than helpful.
I know it seems that way, but actually, it's freeing. Once you stop expecting perfection, you can focus on recovery instead of prevention. Second, you need to build an emergency toolkit like keeping a fire extinguisher in your kitchen. You hope you never need it, but you absolutely must know where it is when the fire starts.
Okay, I'm listening. What goes in this toolkit?
The most important tool is something I call pause phrases. These are sentences you can say when your mind goes blank that buy you time, signal to the listener that you're thinking rather than failing, and actually make you sound more thoughtful and intelligent.
Can you give me some examples? I usually just stand there in silence or start apologizing.
Here are 3 that have saved me in countless situations. The first one is, "That's a great question. Let me think about the best way to answer that." This gives you a good 5 to 10 seconds of thinking time, and it frames you as someone who cares about giving a quality response, rather than someone who is lost and confused.
That does sound better than just staring blankly.
The second one is, "I want to make sure I give you the right word here." This signals that accuracy matters to you, that you're searching for the precise term rather than just throwing out whatever comes to mind first. It buys you another few seconds and actually raises your credibility.
I like that one. It shows I care about being precise.
And my absolute favorite, the one I use most often, is simply, "You know what? Let me rephrase that. This is your reset button." If you started a sentence, got halfway through, and realized you were going nowhere, this phrase lets you start completely fresh without drawing attention to the fact that you were lost.
I always just apologize when that happens. I say things like, sorry, my English is terrible, or sorry, I forgot the word.
Stop doing that immediately. Every time you apologize for your English, you are reinforcing the idea in your own mind and in your listener's mind that you are doing something wrong. You are not doing anything wrong. You are communicating in a second language, which is genuinely impressive. When you apologize, you draw attention to the mistake and make it memorable. When you use a pause phrase, you draw attention to your thoughtfulness and make the moment forgettable.
That makes sense when you say it like that. But what about when I completely forget a specific word? Like, I can see the object clearly in my mind. I know exactly what I want to say, but the English word just will not come out no matter how hard I try.
This is called the tip of the tongue phenomenon, and it happens in every language, even your native one. The solution is to describe your way around it. If you forget the word for refrigerator, you say, the big cold box in the kitchen where you keep food fresh. If you forget umbrella, you say, the thing you hold over your head when it's raining to stay dry.
But that sounds so childish and basic. I feel like I'm going backwards when I do that.
I understand that feeling, but listen to this. Native speakers do this constantly. They forget words all the time, especially as they get older or when they're tired. They just describe around it so naturally and confidently that we don't even notice they're doing it. The goal of language is communication, not perfection. If you get your meaning across successfully, you have succeeded, regardless of whether you use the exact perfect word or descriptive phrase.
I never thought about it that way. I guess I wouldn't judge someone else for doing that, so why am I so hard on myself?
That is exactly the right question to ask. We are always our own harshest critics. That voice in your head that says, you sound stupid, or everyone is judging you, is your own insecurity talking. It is not reality. Research studies have consistently shown that listeners are much more forgiving and much less judgmental than speakers think they are. People generally want to help and understand, not criticize.
That's reassuring to hear. But what about when the freeze happens specifically because of anxiety? Like, I know the word perfectly well. I know the grammar is correct, but I'm so nervous that my brain just won't release the information. It's like having a file on your computer that you know is there, but the computer won't open it.
This is actually the most common type of freeze that English learners experience. You have all the knowledge stored in your brain, but anxiety is blocking your access to it. The solution here is physical rather than mental. When you feel that panic rising, you need to ground yourself in the present moment.
What do you mean by grounding?
It means connecting with your physical body to interrupt the panic spiral. Feel your feet pressing against the floor. Take one slow, deep breath and notice how it feels. Look at one object in the room and name it in English. Chair, window, computer. These simple actions bring you back to the present moment and stop your brain from catastrophizing.
That sounds almost too simple to actually work.
It is simple, and that is exactly why it works. Panic makes everything feel complicated and overwhelming. Grounding techniques make everything feel simple and manageable. Another physical trick that is very effective is to press your thumb and forefinger together quite hard for 3 seconds, then release. Do this 3 times in a row. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system and sends a signal to your body that you are safe, that there are no tigers here, that you can relax.
I will definitely try that. But what if I'm in the middle of a presentation or an important meeting with lots of people watching me? I can't exactly start doing breathing exercises or finger pressing in front of everyone. They'll think I'm having some kind of episode.
The good news is that you can do all of these techniques very subtly. No one will notice. The finger press is completely invisible if you keep your hands below the table or at your side. The slow breath can be done while you are listening to someone else speak or while you are looking down at your notes. The foot grounding is entirely invisible. But here is another strategy that is even more powerful: prevention.
Prevention, like avoiding situations where I might freeze?
No, absolutely not. Avoidance makes anxiety worse. I mean, preparing for the possibility of freezing so that you are not caught off guard when it happens. Before any important English situation, take 5 minutes to imagine 3 specific things that could go wrong. Maybe you will forget a key vocabulary word. Maybe someone will ask you a question you do not fully understand. Maybe your mind will go completely blank right at the beginning.
That sounds like negative thinking to me.
It is realistic thinking, not negative thinking. Once you have imagined these scenarios, write down exactly how you will respond to each one. Prepare your pause phrases in advance. Write down how you will describe around missing words. Decide right now that if you do not understand a question, you will say, "Could you repeat that, please?" I want to make sure I understand correctly. When you have a plan, your anxiety drops by at least 50% because you know you can handle whatever comes up.
So instead of hoping nothing goes wrong, I prepare for things going wrong and trust that I can handle them.
Exactly. Hope is not a strategy, but preparation is. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say the freeze happens despite all your preparation. You panic, you go silent, you feel completely embarrassed. How do you recover from that?
Usually I just want to run away and hide, or I keep apologizing over and over, which just makes everything more awkward.
Here's your recovery script for those moments. First, breathe. Just one slow breath. Second, use one of these phrases to get back on track. You can say, "Let me start again," or "I lost my train of thought, but what I wanted to say was," or simply, "Where was I?" "Oh yes, I was saying." These phrases normalize the situation. They show that you are human, that you can handle imperfection with confidence, and that you are still in control of the conversation, that you are still in contarpiction.
I worry that saying those things makes me sound weak or unprepared.
Actually, the opposite is true. Everyone loses their train of thought sometimes. Everyone has moments where their mind goes blank. By acknowledging it casually and moving on, you demonstrate confidence and resilience. You are saying, "This is normal. I can handle it. Let's continue." That is a sign of strength, not weakness.
What if I panic so much that I cannot even get those recovery phrases out? What if I'm completely frozen?
Then use body language. Smile. Nod your head. Hold up one finger to signal, "Just one moment, please." These nonverbal cues are universal across all cultures. They buy you time without requiring any words at all. And while you are doing them, take that breath. Feel your feet on the floor. Press your fingers together. Then speak. Even if your first sentence back is simple, even if it is not perfect, just get back into the conversation.
I always feel like I need to speak perfectly or I should not speak at all. I wait until I can form the perfect sentence in my head before I say anything.
That is the perfectionism trap, and it kills fluency completely. Native speakers make mistakes constantly. They start sentences and do not finish them. They change direction halfway through a thought. They say and ah, and you know all the time. But we do not notice because we are focused on their message, not their grammar. Your listeners are the same way. They want your ideas, your personality, your contribution. They are not sitting there judging your English perfection.
So you're saying I should just embrace being imperfect?
I am saying you should prioritize communication over perfection. If you can make yourself understood, if you can get your meaning across, you have succeeded. Every time you speak English, even with mistakes, even with freezes and awkward pauses, you are getting stronger. Your brain is building new neural pathways. The freezes will become less frequent. The recovery will become faster, but only if you keep speaking and do not let perfectionism silence you.
That makes so much sense. But it is hard to remember all of this in the moment when I am actually panicking.
That is exactly why you need to practice these tools when you are not stressed. Use your pause phrases when you are talking to yourself in the shower. Practice your grounding techniques when you are calm and relaxed at home. Build the muscle memory so that when the panic hits, your body automatically knows what to do without you having to think about it.
And what about building long-term confidence? How do I stop being so afraid of freezing that I avoid speaking altogether?
The answer is gradual exposure. Start with very low-stake situations and slowly work your way up. Speak to yourself in the mirror first. Then record voice notes on your phone. Then speak to one friendly person who makes you feel safe. Then 2 people. Then a small group. Each small success builds your confidence muscle. Each freeze that you survive proves to your brain that freezing is not fatal, that you can recover, that you will be okay.
I have been avoiding speaking situations because I am so afraid of freezing and embarrassing myself.
I know, and that is completely understandable. But here is the truth about avoidance. Every time you avoid speaking because you are afraid, you reinforce the belief that speaking is dangerous and that you cannot handle it. Every time you speak, Even if you freeze, even if it is awkward, you prove to yourself that you can survive it. The freeze is uncomfortable, yes. It is embarrassing, yes. But it is not dangerous. It will not hurt you. You can survive embarrassment, and you will grow stronger from it.
I have been treating English speaking like a test that I can fail instead of a skill that I'm building over time.
That is a perfect way to put it. English is not a test with a pass or fail grade. It is a tool that gets better with use. Tools get rusty if you do not use them. They get sharper and more effective with practice. No one expects you to be perfect. They expect you to try, to engage, to communicate. And every time you try, even with all the imperfections, you are winning.
Thank you for this conversation. I feel like I actually have a practical plan now. The pause phrases, the grounding techniques, the recovery scripts. I am going to write them all down and practice them.
Do that. Put them on sticky notes on your mirror. Record them as voice memos on your phone. Make them part of your daily routine. And remember this above all else. The next time your mind goes blank, you are not failing. You are not stupid. You are simply experiencing what every single language learner experiences. Welcome to the club. We all freeze. We all recover. We all keep going. Now go out there and speak. Imperfectly, bravely, authentically, you have got this.
I have got this.
Yes, you absolutely do. And if you freeze, you now know exactly what to do. Pause. Breathe. Recover. Continue. See you in the next episode.